I've been married for almost 20 years, so this issue is long dead, but my brother recently told me I was an idiot and I want an unbiased opinion. During our engagement, my now wife told me that she wanted to hyphenate our name because she is an only child of an only child father, meaning that without at least hyphenating, her father's family name would die out. While our discussion never got heated, we definitely went back and forth on it. The mere thought of our possible children having a last name like that was unacceptable to me, and we almost called the wedding off. Ultimately, I refused, she conceded, and we've been married for 20 years and have 3 children, all carrying on my family's last name. My wife has never brought this up in all that time, but during a recent family cookout my brother randomly brought it up when we were talking and said I was an idiot because our family name continues through my kids. You could have let hers live on through her. This has led me to reconsider. So am I awful for not wanting to give up my name? Update. I wanted to let you all know that I sat down with my wife and brought this all up with her and even showed her this thread. I told her that I was more than willing to discuss making any changes that she would like to make regarding changing not only my last name but our children's as well. When she could tell that I was serious about this, she started laughing hysterically. I mean, a solid few minutes of uncontrollable laughter that led to her crying with laughs. I have to say, as this went on, that I started to get angry. When she realized this, she finally calmed down enough to explain what was so damn funny. So it turns out that she never wanted to hyphenate our name. It was something my father-in-law tried to force on her, and she didn't want me to resent him for it, so she posed it as something she wanted. She went on to say she was so happy that I was so against it, which is why we never got into a real argument about it. It wasn't until I put my foot down that she was finally able to get her dad off her back about it. You are the idiot. The idea that your wedding was almost cancelled over this hurts my head. What was it about the hyphenated name that was so unacceptable? Other than your own pride, why not let your kids take your wife's name if it means so much to get and the hyphenated version isn't acceptable to you? Your wife gave up something important to her so that you could have something you wanted, and also because she decided that she would rather have a life with you than lose you over this issue. Maybe you should have thought of doing that for her, especially when she had a legitimate point. You are the idiot. You were selfish, totally disregarded her feelings, and threatened to call it off if she didn't stop assaulting your masculine ego. I'm glad your brother brought it up 20 years later. I'm sorry you didn't call it off, because maybe your wife could have found a husband that cared about her and her feelings and opinions. Let me guess, your oldest son is a junior and none of your kids are named after people in her family? You are the idiot. I can't imagine that you didn't consider this initially. That was literally what she meant by my name will die out, only child, only father. What did you think that meant? I mean, hyphenated names can be awkward to some people, but there's nothing casual about abandoning your branch of the family name forever. Also, unless your last name is White and her last name is Power, it seems pretty stupid to stake your whole marriage on a hyphenated name. Last year, I stepped down from my corporate position so that I could move home and head my family's business, so my parents could retire. My sister has a 4-year-old son. I didn't get to spend a lot of time with my nephew, so we don't have much of a relationship. She delayed getting her son into school and was sending him to a local daycare so she could work. A month ago, there was an abuse issue with a different local daycare, and my sister flipped. She didn't want to send her son to any daycare anymore, because she doesn't trust anybody else with her child. So, she brings him into our office. Her son is a terror. She uses an iPad to keep him busy but doesn't make him wear headphones. So, he sits in the office listening to cartoons at top volume, until he gets bored and starts running around, yelling. Whenever I tell my sister that it's distracting, she says he's just playing. He's walked into the conference room during meetings twice now, and my sister has just laughed it off. He'll draw on the whiteboard for a couple of minutes, maybe ask his mom for a snack or something, all while I'm trying to keep our client on track. We often run out of paper for the printer because he uses it to draw. There are crumbs everywhere from him eating, the glass on our copier is covered in streak marks from him, there's always noise going on. Last Thursday, my nephew came into my office and just started playing with things on my desk, staring at me but not speaking to me. I asked if there was anything I could help him with, and he just kept doing it. I tried to show him how a desk toy I had worked, and he smacked my hand away and kept fiddling with it. I was like, fine, okay, and then, he kept forcing it the wrong way and broke it. but I just said uh-oh and suggested he play with one of his toys. He says no. He picks up a little toy car I have on my desk. Drives it off the desk. Okay, fine. Picks up a stress ball, rolls it off the desk, fine. Grabs the broken desk toy and walks it off the desk, no worries. Takes a picture frame, and I see where it's going, so I take it from him. He starts hysterically crying and screaming. I explain what happened to my sister, she's angry, tells me I have no right to try and parent her child, I'm bad with kids, I don't know her son. I'm mad, so I say she needs to keep her kid out of the office. I'm tired of dealing with all of this, it's done. He needs to go home or back to daycare. She bursts into tears, tells me it's not fair. And of course, she turns it back on me for being child-free. I don't understand a mother's love, I'm not being fair. Our parents are angry. My dad calls me and says he regrets bringing me in, I don't understand the value of family, etc. She hasn't shown up the last 2 days, doesn't answer my texts, calls, emails, so I'm stuck with all her work. My mom told me it's just what I deserve, but I feel like I deserve a quiet workplace, too. Not the idiot, and your sister and parents are idiots. That kid is going to be a nightmare, and for your sister to think it's okay to let him be disruptive in your office is utterly insane. If your parents don't respect you enough to think you should be other than babysitting her kid and allowing him to be disruptive and destroy your belongings while you're trying to work, time for you to get a job elsewhere and let them manage it. Not the idiot. For being child-free, you don't sound toxic about it. Children are dirty hell demons and the like, and what you're asking for is reasonable. Where was she when he was interrupting meetings and destroying your supplies? By the way, I have 5 kids, and after the age of 3 or 4, they've all got down the routine. If I'm working from home, they can come into my room, office, whatever, and speak quietly, but do not interrupt phone calls without reason. She can train him on that too. Not the idiot. An office is just not a place for a small child, let alone an ill-behaved one. If you actually have clients experiencing this child in the office, then I would imagine at some point the business is going to suffer. I feel like there may have been other words spoken or something we don't know for your dad to say he regrets bringing you in, as this feels so obviously unworkable otherwise. But no, your nephew needs school or childcare, like every other child, and your sister needs to be an employee while she's at work. My mom is kind of the mother hen at her work, and she ends up making lots of friends with the girls she works with. A lot of these friends have been there for her through major things like divorce and ill health, and I'm glad my mom has awesome friends that she can trust and rely on. A few of them even took her all expenses paid to Cancun for a few weeks after she recovered from a nasty illness, so I do know they love her and vice versa. She has 3 boys, and always wanted a girl, so lots of these women are in their 20s and they absolutely adore my mom. And the feeling is mutual, like, her Facebook is full of them taking her out to brunch and stuff on their days off, etc. They're close. My mom is terrified of driving because when she was a teen she ended up accidentally hitting someone, and although she was never charged with dangerous driving, she gave up her license and has never driven again. I work a full-time job with my dad, but I'll always make time to drive my mom around as my 2 brothers don't live close and she used to rely on my dad, but since the divorce I've stepped in. She has made a new friend at work who's in her early 20s, she's only known her this past year. This girl is pregnant and doesn't have family or friends to help her out. She needs help going to and from hospital appointments, and Ubers are racking up and buses are notoriously late or diverted in my town. My mom called me up pleading with me to take her friend to at least 3 future appointments, and some shopping trips for the future baby. My mom said that she's going alone, blah blah, she has no one to help. My mom is vested in making sure this girl is okay, etc. I'm reluctant to help because I don't think it's my issue. I'm happy to help out mama, and I've driven her friends around before when my mom is also with them, but taking someone to their hospital appointments seems kind of weird. My mom is a bleeding heart and loves fixing things and people, and she has asked me to do it as a favor to her because this girl is down on her luck, and she's asked my mom to be this baby's godmother because my mom has been such a pillar of support. It's all a little weird to me, but the major reason I don't want to do it is that I mentioned this to my girlfriend and she was not happy with the thought of me basically being this chick private Uber, and I can see her point of view. I'm also genuinely super busy and my life is all about making dollars, so if it's not immediately for my loved ones, I'm out. My mom is really disappointed and has been paying for this girl Uber herself, which is insane to me, And I do feel guilty, but over my mom, not this chick. Not the idiot. It's fine if your mom wants to do things to help out this girl, but do not be involved in this girl's problems or start taking her places. It would be totally inappropriate and, being that you are a man, could lead to some pretty darned awkward situations. Your GF has every right to be upset and think this is really weird. Your mom has chosen not to drive. That is completely her choice, and it is commendable that you are helping her by driving her around. But, she needs to understand, and you need to very firmly tell her, that helping her is the very limit of your personal capacity. Not the idiot. This is a little inappropriate to do, especially if you're already in a relationship. This may not be important, but people will most definitely make assumptions about you being the dad if they see you taking her to her ultrasound appointments and going baby shopping with her. If I were your girlfriend, I'd be super not okay with that. I don't understand why your mom can't just accompany this girl on Uber rides. Not the idiot. The pregnant friend is not entitled to you driving her around. Technically, neither is your mom. My mom also cannot drive due to an accident, and it's been a struggle in our relationship. While I like to help her and take her places, like you do with your mom, she is not entitled to me driving her around. I fought with my mom once, of many times, because she wanted me to leave campus during finals and revoke my study space to drive 20 minutes north and get Burger King for my brother. Maybe sit down with your mom and talk about this. I have been with my SO for about 8 years. We live together, have several kids, and for all practical purposes are a married couple. For personal reasons though, we decided marriage is not the best route for us at the time and are still just partners. My parents refuse to let us share a bed or room when we visit their house, so for the last 5 years, we have never visited for more than a day. My parents recently moved across the country and are having a huge family party to celebrate their 30th anniversary. I was talking to my mom about plans and she said my sister and her newlywed would be sharing one guest room, my kids could have the other guest room, my partner could have the couch and I could sleep on the futon in their bedroom. I told them that it would work better if the kids slept on the couch and floor downstairs and I and my partner could share the bedroom. My mom said that wouldn't work. I knew why but said why not. She said, well, you're not married, of course. I hate to make their special weekend about me, but I had to retort that we would not be staying with them if they would not let us share a room while allowing my sister to share a room with her husband. I said it also further adds salt to the wound because it delegitimizes our relationship with my kids. 7,4,2. My mom said I was being selfish and it disturbed her that I would expect to sleep in her house with another person while unmarried. Money is not an issue, so I said, well, we will be staying in a hotel or not coming at all, and I hanged up. Not the idiot. At the end of the day, a marriage certificate is just a piece of paper that confirms something you both already seem to feel. You two love each other, you have a life together, and you're raising children together. Is it really so necessary that you get the legal proof of your commitment that your parents are willing to alienate you and your family? Obviously, it is their house and therefore their rules, but you've provided an acceptable compromise that, while not ideal, does seem to meet their objection that it does not happen under their roof. Hopefully, they'll come around though. This seems like a silly hill to die on. Not the idiot. No one can force you to get married, and not being married doesn't make your relationship invalid. If your mother were a sensible person and cared about your happiness, she wouldn't do that. Forcing someone to get married in order to be acknowledged is pretty. Yikes. If she can't accept your feelings and relationship as legitimate, you shouldn't feel bad about not being there for her special day or spending the night at a hotel. No idiots here. You and your SO want to sleep how you like, so getting a hotel makes sense in this situation. And your parents are free to impose their values in their house, and it's not fair to ask them to break their values. You don't have to agree with their values, and they don't impose their values onto your personal life at home, even though it's obvious they disagree with your choices. The fact that you're willing to book a hotel rather than try to force them to let you sleep in their house on your own terms, even when it conflicts with their values, don't make you an idiot. My wife and kid get along swimmingly usually. He's 13. I had my son on the weekend and he was in my and my wife's room playing video games. My wife doesn't like it when he's in there because she's kind of OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, about germs, and she especially hates when he's on our bed. To be completely fair to her, she also doesn't let our 6-year-old sit on the bed unless she's had a bath, so it's not just my son. Her reasoning is that outside clothes are dirty and my son likes to always sit on walls and chairs and stuff in public, which my wife avoids as she hates the idea of germs. Well, over the weekend my wife went to visit her mom, taking our kid with her, and when she came back my son had left glasses and tissues on her side of the bed. On Sunday evening after I dropped him off and my wife was home, she got really mad at me and told me she wasn't my son's mom and I hadn't done the washing in the sink. I had just left the dishes in there, and she was really mad about the stuff on her side of the bed. She changed all the sheets, wiped down the side cabinet, and told me she found crumbs everywhere. My son had only had a small snack and I knew it wasn't those crumbs. She said, "I'm not his mom to be cleaning up after him every time he's here. You need to tell him to throw his trash away or clean it yourself." I told her she was being an idiot and that if it was our 6-year-old she wouldn't bat an eyelid. She flipped out on me big time and I'm in the severe doghouse. "You're the idiot." She's right. She's not your son's mom, and even if she were, he's 13 years old. He should know that it's his own damn responsibility to pick up his crumbs, clean his dishes, and change his clothes if he needs to be in a space your wife likely regards as private and doesn't want dirt all over. Exactly what do you think your son is learning when he sees that you think it's okay for him to ignore an authority figure in the household? Not the idiot. Tell her that she knew you had a child that would always be part of your life when she got together with you. He was very much part of the deal. Tell her to stop thinking of him as an outsider in what is all of their home, not just yours, hers, and your 6-year-old. Tell her how she treats your son. You consider that she is treating you the same way. She needs to stop being such a spiteful, so-and-so about your son. Everyone's the idiot here. It is a huge pet peeve of mine when step-parents play the "he or she isn't my kid" card. That's so hurtful. But I do think you could do better in setting stronger limits on your son so he isn't making such a mess. He should be able to pick up after himself, and you could help tidy up instead of leaving it all for your wife. Even my 3-year-old throws his soiled tissues in the trash. So gross.